Welcome back to Shelly's birth story, part 2 of my Jackie's home birth. Okay, so I was talking about how I think it's really important for women to have a really awesome, solid support group of people around them when they're in giving birth, whether it be at home or whether it be in the hospital, because I have had one hospital birth and I did have that support group and they really helped me through a lot of tough times in the hospital. But I think it's really important. Like women, us women, especially like we've had babies before, we just really know what it's like to, like we've walked that road before, like we've been there, and I don't know, we just can be more supportive and show up for people. Jackie's coming up. What is it, buddy? So here's Jackie. He wants me to hold him. Come here, Jackie. I'm telling your birth story. So everyone shows up and I'm getting lots of massages and my midwife does show up. Come on, Jackie. Jackie still hasn't been feeling good. And my midwives show up. It's Carol and Marna, the same midwives that came for my, come on, buddy, for Milo's birth. And they come and it's just like everything is just calm and peaceful and the way it's supposed to be. Hi, buddy. Come here. And this is Jackie. This is my Mr. Man. And Jackie was just kind of coming when he was ready. Were you born? Were you born into the world? So my sweet potato Jackie, where were we? Yep, I was laying on the bed and I mean, it was a pretty intense birth, but I feel like his birth, I was just a lot more calm and focused and I knew I couldn't be in the water, which was kind of dreading, but I had mentally prepared myself for that. And birth is a huge mental feat. Like it's mind over matter. I mean, it's definitely your body. Your body takes charge and it just knows what it's doing, but mentally you have to just be there. And I definitely had I did my strength, love, and peace. Those are my affirmations I said with Milo's birth and with Jack's birth because I was strong. I was loving my baby. I was being peaceful to my baby. And I labored and labored on my bed. And it actually went so fast. Like I think everyone got to the house at like 1:30 a.m. and I pushed on my side for quite a while. I was laying on my side because I had watched my sister Jenny give birth to her fourth child, maybe Jane, on her side in her bed. And it was just so beautiful and so peaceful. And she literally, it was insane, but she was laying on her side with her legs were a little bit apart and her daughter just slid out. I remember thinking, we need to lift her leg up. We need to do this. We need to do that. Her baby just came out. Like her body just knew what it was doing. So I was getting in some pretty deep transition phases of my labor. Transition is when your baby is transitioning down and their head is like moving down deep into your pelvis. And Jackie was coming on down and I could freaking feel it and it was hurting really bad. And I remember my sweet sister Amy Beth, who was 6 months pregnant, was there and she kept disappearing because she was feeling really nauseous and I woke her up in the middle of the night. This sweet baby, I can't believe he's almost 3. And this sweet baby, he was like, I was on my side and every time I would like, it was almost like I could feel it was my body's way of pushing. And I always was afraid of, with my birth, my vaginal birth, that I wasn't going to know when to push. And I'm not kidding, like you don't really need to know when to push. Your body just pushes. And I've been to now I've been to 5 other births, which are all my sisters, and women make very similar birthing grunts. And usually during that transition is when women will start throwing up, and I did that. And throwing up is actually really good. Like a lot of people panic because of that, but you throwing up is you pushing and you're grunting and you're bearing down, and it's like a really good sign. So yeah, I get those pukey pukes, and I was doing that, and I was on my side, and my midwife later told me that every time I'd go to push, I'd lock my legs together because I was like, ugh, and I was just like tensing up and being tense. And she was just like, Shelly, now if you need to move. It was like in between a huge contraction. I just had like this little bit of break and I had everyone rubbing my back and I had my yummy vanilla lavender smells and my beautiful meditation music, and just everyone that I loved was around me, and it was dark and peaceful in my bedroom, and curtains were drawn. My kids were sleeping. My kids slept through, well, their little baby brother was born. It was like Christmas night. Mommy was making their baby brother But I just remember there was like this moment and I just was like, doggy style. And I literally just heaved my giant ass, my booty, my big old pregnant belly. And I shoved that butt up in the air and I took a pillow and shoved it under. And I was just like ass up in the air. Literally my booty was up and I was face down and oh my gosh, like the ring of fire. If you've heard of the ring of fire, it's legit the ring of fire because it feels like there's a ring of fire in your vagina. And it's when your baby's like, their head comes out a little bit and then it goes in and then it comes out and it goes in and then it comes out and it just like stays and it stretches and it stretches. And I just remember thinking, God, I just will give anything to push this baby out. And I just wanted to, ooh. And my doula, Elisa, her voice is this amazing, soothing voice. And I didn't have my eyes open because when I'm in labor, I just like to keep my eyes closed and I'm just very internal into my mind, but I do make a lot of sounds. And I remember she got right up there, she was in my ear and she said, she was like, pant like a dog. And I remember I was like, and I panted. She was like, ease your baby, ease your baby. And Carol was in the background saying, if it's Bernie, stretchy, pull off. If it's Bernie, stretchy, pull off. And I was like, of course it's Bernie, stretchy. How am I supposed to pull off? And it was like Bernie, stretchy. And I just panted with Elisa and her just voice was like, you are strong. You are doing this. You are bringing your baby into the world. And I was just like, oh, his birth is just, I don't get sad. I feel just so empowered. It's so beautiful. And I was butt up in the air and he just came and he shot out and he pooped and the rest of my my bag of water just exploded all over everyone. And I always have this inkling to just hold my babies really fast after I give birth to them or my last two babies, because after June's birth when she was taken away during my C-section. But you know what? I was really okay because I was so tired from his birth. It went so fast. It was legitimately in 4 hours. I was so tired that I sat there for a minute. I sat there and I knew he was okay and he wasn't crying and he was fine. And that was actually all due to my midwife had shared something with me about just taking a moment right after you have your baby and just knowing your baby's safe. Just taking one moment to recover yourself. And I did. I just recovered myself. And then I remember I went to try to turn over and his cord was stuck. And then my midwife, Carol, just fixed his cord and I turned over. I was, on my back in my bed and she put this beautiful baby up in my arms and he was just the sweetest thing. And when he was born, his right eye was completely like glued shut and he had this huge birthmark all over the middle of his eyes, his nose, and down his lip. And he was so sweet and so beautiful. And he was like 8 pounds and 14 ounces. And I say that he was a 9-pound baby because he pooped and he was a big boy. But it was crazy because he actually, how far, it's so funny, I can't even think of, I think I was just like 40 weeks and something. Like, he wasn't too early, he wasn't too late. He just kind of came on his own timing and it was crazy. And I remember, like, everyone was like so concerned, about his birthmark. Like, people commented on, what's the matter with his face? And he had these, this big birthmark and people were all panicking and his eye was closed. And I was like, what do you mean? He's perfect the way he is. And yeah, he was born with this birthmark and it off and on comes and goes. And now he has like this little droopy lid and he has glasses now that we didn't find out until he was 2 that he needed. And he was just this perfect, beautiful birth. And I think like the best part ever was that his brother and sister were sleeping when he was born, and he was born at like 4:35 in the morning at home. And by the time I delivered my afterbirth and my sisters had left, there was only my midwives were the only 2 people left at the house after all the craziness settled down. And my poor husband, sweet husband, home births husbands have a lot of work and cleaning to do, and he did all that cleaning. And the pitter patter of Junie's feet steps come down the hall, and it was like Christmas morning. Like, Junie woke up and she woke up to this beautiful gift of Jack, and then Milo woke up to this beautiful gift of Jack. And I remember I was laying there and Milo looked down, he looked over at my tummy and he looked at Jack, he looked at my tummy And he was like, what? And I was like, this is your baby brother. And it was just so beautiful. Like, we were all three laying in bed, and Rex was there too. And it was just like, it was just everything I ever could have hoped and dreamt for a birth. Like, Jack's birth was actually my dream come true birth. You were my dream come true birth. You were the perfect birth. I'm so lucky for you. And he was just so empowering, and he gave me so much strength. And I just feel so, I'm very empowered for my home births. I'm very proud of them. And I just encourage any mama out there just to explore your birth options, because you are not as limited as you think, and your body is stronger than you give it credit for. And that was just Jack's lovely, beautiful birth story. And I love all of my storybook sisters and mamas out there. And yeah, this one is just to Mr. Jack, and being empowered and just learning from our past and just striving to do better things. Wear your glasses. We love you all. This is Shelly with Storybook Sisters. If you like us, give us a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. We'll see you next time.